Good evening, I'm Dike Rostant. Welcome back to the TTT News. Some spaces observe October as Cybersecurity Month, and in that vein, we are going in depth on various aspects of the topic with subject matter expert Glen Singh. It is time for In Depth with me, Dike Rostant. Welcome, Mr. Singh. How are you doing? Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Dike, I'm doing actually fine. And how are you doing today?
I'm all right, thank you. Very interested in this topic. Now, and before we get even into the nitty-gritty of the matter, some people have defined you as a cybersecurity expert. Some people have described you as a hacker expert. What do you call yourself? What are your job specs?
Well, actually, in the cybersecurity industry, I wear many hats based on my portfolio. So for my students, I'm actually a cybersecurity instructor. I'm also an information security author, and I also am a cybersecurity trainer. So I work with various companies, helping organizations to become better at what they do, and also developing the new and the next generation of cybersecurity professionals. So I wouldn't say a hacker, because a hacker could be a really bad term. So I would simply say a cybersecurity professional trying to make the world a better place.
Okay, and one of the reasons my ears picked up a little bit when you said you wear many hats, because I know one of the things when you hear a white hat or a white hat hacker, that is also a different connotation from just a normal hacker. But with that in mind though, and your job specs and your profession, what to you what's the need for cybersecurity in sectors?
Well, to be honest with you, the need for cybersecurity is constantly increasing, and the demand is so much in the world right now. There are various reputable organizations which actually, based on their study, says that there is a huge demand for cybersecurity professionals in all sectors. And all sectors, we are talking about the health sector. How would you feel that your personal information is being stored in a health, let's say, provider network, and this network is not secure? How would you feel if your information is leaked out there on the internet? Additionally, now that's just health. What about the education industry? There's a lot of schools, a lot of educational institutes, from primary, secondary, even tertiary educations. Tertiary institutions, and these institutions are storing their students' data. And this is a lot of personally identifiable information. How would you feel if you attend an institute and your data is leaked on the dark web? Plus, we have the manufacturing industry and even the financial sector. Remember, all of these organizations in various sectors, they're storing their customers' information. And what they need to do is always ensure this data is kept safe, especially any sort of employee data, customer data, and so on. So honestly, in all of these different type of industries, they face cyber attacks of different, I would say, like category and different types as well. And the thing about it is, no matter whether you're in the private sector or the public sector, there's no sort of pre-warning that you are going to be attacked. So the best thing we can do is actually take a proactive approach.
And in terms of that proactive approach, do you think, is there something that individuals would look for when they try to breach the security of someone's digital space? Or is it random? I don't like that person, so let me see what I'm going to do with them. What are some of the things that come up in your experience?
So honestly, the intent of a threat actor, which is a hacker, could vary. So for example, one of the biggest wars we have in our country is the political war, right? And let's say, for example, a threat actor don't like what one particular political party is doing. Well, this threat actor could decide to cause some type of cyber attack, exfiltrate data from, let's say, a member of parliament, or even a higher profile person within the actual, let's say, the government of the country itself. So what hackers actually do is sometimes their targets are actually random, or what they could look for is anything that is valuable to them. But most importantly, depending on the cyber attack that they perform, right now what they are looking at is stealing data and selling this data on the dark web. And what they're doing as well too is they're actually creating a cyber weapon. And perhaps you have heard about the cyber weapon already. It's actually ransomware. So what they do is they create ransomware, unleash it on the internet, and anyone gets infected, well, all their data will be encrypted. But at the same time, you will not believe, DK, they will be extracting your data from your organization and selling it on the dark web. And if you pay, guess what? They're stealing your credit card details. So it really depends on the personal intent of the threat actor. But right now, hacking is actually becoming a business on the internet. And the whole concept of, well, sorry, the whole idea behind it, it is to actually gain money right now.
Now, you're saying that and you're getting a little more nervous than usual. I know Tyrus Riley has a song called The Microchip is going to trip and fail us. But are there different types of cybersecurity? Because I'm thinking about the fact that we can store things in different places. So whether or not we're storing things to the cloud, whether or not there are things like applications. So are there different types of cybersecurity?
Well, to start with, it isn't different types of cybersecurity. And the thing about being in the field of information technology is the fact that information technology has so many subfields. And most commonly, sometimes when we think about information technology, we will think about fixing computers or probably building servers or doing networking. But when we take a dive into cybersecurity, there's so many different fields in cybersecurity that let's say a person such as yourself or even myself could even become a specialist and expert. So we actually have, like, for example, we have the network security engineers, which actually employ network security solutions such as firewalls to help protect organizations. We have incident response teams who are there to actually help mitigate and also resolve any sort of security intrusions in companies. And there's a cool and awesome position as well too, which is called penetration testers. And penetration testers are pretty much a white hat. Yes, the white hat hackers who will actually be hired and, of course, obtain legal permission to actually what we call simulate a real cyber attack in your organization. And the whole idea with simulating a real cyber attack in your organization is to discover the security flaws and vulnerabilities and help your organization to actually remediate it and implement countermeasures. Imagine that you think your organization is secure and you may implement various technologies, solutions, let's say antivirus software, or even some type of firewall appliance. And you would think, hey, your network is very secure. But when a hacker breaks into your network, you will not believe this. There are various studies that indicate that most organizations will actually take approximately 3 to 6 months before they actually realize their network has been compromised. So again, there's so many different rules and fields that a person could become an expert in cybersecurity. So you even have like security analysts. You have persons who work in a security operations center, which helps monitor the security posture and even do threat hunting to look for any sort of cybersecurity incident in other organizations. So a really good example is a lot of internet service providers actually has a security operations center that contains from analysts to even experts. And what they do is monitor their customers and network and help their customers actually find these threats and implement mitigation techniques and countermeasures. So I would say cybersecurity is a very in-depth particular field in IT itself. And it is always exciting because every single day, new attacks, new threats are actually being discovered.
All right, so we're going to take a short break. When we return, I want to ask what it is individuals can do to increase their cybersecurity. What are some of the challenges faced by companies, especially in a time like this when so many people have been forced to go virtual? But we discuss that with you, Glen Singh. When we return, stay with us. Welcome back. We are speaking with cybersecurity professional Glen Singh. And Glen, it's almost as though you said that ignorance does not necessarily make you innocent in terms of saying, okay, well, we're going online, we're doing things online. This lack of understanding the need for cybersecurity, how do you think that kind of plays off during a time like this when so many businesses have been forced to go online, be it meetings or sharing information from individuals who are working remotely? Has the pandemic increased the need for cybersecurity?
The simple answer is yes. Because the pandemic has forced a lot of organizations to work remotely, This means that organizations has to provide some sort of remote access connectivity for the employees, such that the business will keep on operating. The thing about with the pandemic is a lot of organizations was not expecting it, and this is a reality. Like no one was really expecting a pandemic, especially organizations. And because organizations want to constantly be operating on a 24/7 basis, they need to provide a very quick solutions for the employees to be working remotely. And the thing about it, imagine this, right? An organization may give you remote access to work from home. You may be using your personal computer, but is your personal computer secure? Does your personal computer has any sort of viruses or malware or any sort of threats in that matter? When you connect to your organization's network, any threats that is on your existing computer or even your smartphone, tablet, or any device whatsoever in your personal home network, all of those threats could be transferred across that secure tunnel across to the organization network. So with negligence, many organizations choose, well, I wouldn't really say choose, but many organizations are feeling to still see the need for having cybersecurity solutions within the organization. So the solutions no necessarily does not necessarily mean only technology. Technology is only one part of it. So we could have technology, processes, procedures, policies, and even people. Because you could have the most expensive set of cybersecurity solutions as technologies within your company. But if you don't have proper procedures such that your employees actually follow these procedures, and let's say you don't have a team of dedicated cybersecurity professionals within your company, that human element is missing from actually improving the security posture of your company. And because the pandemic has forced so many people to work from home, a lot of organizations is facing difficulties in having proper security to ensure their data and their company data is kept safe. Imagine that we have so many employees working from home right now and they are using their personal devices. Well, the thing is, your organization network may have the right security solutions, but but we need to consider, does the employee's network at home or does the employee's device, such as a laptop or smartphone, does it meet the right security how to say posture? This means the latest updates, having a host-based firewall enabled, the antivirus is up to date, and let's say the removal of any sort of third-party applications. So the thing about it is, if you don't how to say cover all aspects of cybersecurity for your organization, you are leaving a doorway open for threats to enter your network. And especially we have a lot of remote workers, we need to be able to actively monitor these threats. Having a firewall is just not enough. Having antivirus is just not enough. We need to be actively and proactively, to be more specific, monitoring for any sort of threats. I have known many organizations to only have a single firewall, or they just have the technologies alone and no one is monitoring the security posture of, let's say, the corporate network. And this could lead to a lot of cyber attacks, especially your corporate emails. Many organizations would probably be using Office 365 or Google Workspace, but even though you are using a corporate email solution, a lot of spam emails enter your inbox. What if an employee clicks a malicious link in one of these emails? Well, that could lead to a threat and, of course, a compromise on your network.
No, you open that door there that I want to go through, but I want to divert a little bit to another area of conversation, because it is one thing to say, okay, well, I'm part of a company, you're attacking this company to earn money or whatever else. But another aspect of cybersecurity that I want to raise with you is cyberbullying. And how real is it, and what kind of steps do we need to take to address something like this?
Cyberbullying is such a real thing right now, and cyberbullying affects everyone, not just children, but even adults. And with cyberbullying, to put simply, it is where another person, and you don't know who this other person may be. That this person could have a fake identity, and this person might be sending threats to you in some sort of electronic form, or might be posting something compromising in, let's say, your own person online, let's say on Facebook, and probably targeting you. So with cyberbullying, this could lead to a lot of mental health concerns, because not everyone will be able to ignore every message they read online, What if, for example, in the education system, there's a lot of students who will create fake names online and send very disturbing messages to both their teachers and other students within the virtual classroom. I have heard from many of my students who mention these things, and they work in their various professions. So with cyberbullying, there's a lot of things that we could actually do, and I believe that we are not doing enough. So some of the most fundamental thing that we can start doing is if someone sends you a disturbing message and you think it is compromising in some way, you need to report it to the legal authorities. If you know the identity of the person, please report it as soon as you can. If you are a child, let's say you are under the age of 18, talk to someone you trust, a parent, a counselor, or even a teacher. If you leave these activities, let's say, without having any sort of disciplinary actions, this cyberbully could actually be attacking other persons online. Now, the thing about cyberbullying, it's very tricky because no one truly knows your identity online unless you actually reveal your name. So one of the most common things is simply block the person. And this is the most obvious thing that we can do. You can just block the person. And if the person continue to, let's say, attack you, then you could actually inform the authority, inform a parent, and even there's a lot of online resources, such as videos on YouTube, that you could look on how to cope with cyberbullying.
And I think one of those authorities that you would have mentioned, because a little earlier we spoke with the Attorney General and he was talking about actually bringing legislation to deal with cyberbullying. And I think one of those authorities would be the Trinidad and Tobago Cyber Incident Response Team. But moving further than that though, what are some of the emerging technologies you think that can help change the game as it pertains to cybersecurity, cyberbullying, and just the way that we deal with things online?
Well, right now, one of the most emerging technologies is using AI technology to help detect cyber threats and attacks within an organization. There's currently a well-known organization that uses AI technology and advanced security technologies to help find these threats and even prevent employees from doing data exfiltration or leaking sort of sensitive data. But the most common and essential thing that any organization could do to help protect their companies and guess what, also their employees, is to implement something called a defense-in-depth approach. A defense-in-depth approach simply is a multi-layer approach to secure your company. So this means to say, by buying, let's say, security solutions is not enough. We need to be able to protect our traffic entering our network, as in our corporate network and even our home network. We need proper anti-malware programs. We try not to use any sort of, let's say, fraudulent or what some people may refer to as cracked software. Because when you install a cracked software or let's say an unauthorized software on your computer or some third-party software, this opens up another avenue for threat actors to actually invade your system. And if they get into one computer or one device within your household, or let's say your company, and I'm pretty sure a lot of companies have a lot of IoT devices such as smart TV. And let me ask you this question, guys. Does your TV have an antivirus on it? How will you know your TV has a virus on it? There's no easy way to actually determine these things. So what we need to do is we're going to start by looking at implementing firewalls. We could have our antivirus programs constantly scanning our systems. We need to protect our Wi-Fi. Almost every organization and perhaps many homes have Wi-Fi, and you will not believe how easy it is for threat actors to break into our Wi-Fi network. It's really, really easy. So,
but you're saying that though, Glenn, and as we're looking to wrap this up, you talk about crack software, and I think every student who is looking at you right about now, they feel a little twinge. Ow! But we want to thank you very much for lending your expertise and making the time. And on behalf of the entire TTT News team, we want to thank you for tuning in. This has been In Depth with me, Dike Rostant.